Speaking of which, just want you to know.
Podcast Tonight presents The Culture Café with Will Love.
Well, that's what opening up a can of whoop-ass feels like.
Son, you just opened a whole case of whoop-ass.
Take a listen to this.
The show is just about to start.
Here we go.
Are you ready to do this? Let's take it from the top.
It is not for the faint-hearted.
It's your boy Will Love, or so you may have heard on radio stations such as Hot AC, WFAS News Talk AM 1230, WFAS, and most recently Top 40 B985 and Hot AC Fun 1071. More music, more fun. Shout out to everyone who has supported me and listened to me over the years. I am extremely excited to be kicking off my first ever podcast, Culture Café, on Podcast Tonight. I have so many amazing guests lined up for not only the rest of this month, but the remainder of the year. I could not have chosen anyone better than to kick off the show with than today's guest. I am honored to have my friend Susan Miller on Culture Café. Susan Miller is a world-renowned astrologer whose website, astrologyzone.com, attracts 6 million unique views monthly and 100 million page views annually. Yes, you heard that right. Susan Miller is praised for her accuracy, authors columns for numerous top publications worldwide, and has authored 9 books. I have not interviewed this amazing woman since 2012, and I want to get right down to it. Susan Miller, what up?
Thank you. It's technical in the internet industry.
Yeah, let's make...
And I don't even know how many people are reading me on my iPhone and Android app. Those are, we know more and more people are looking at everything I do on the app. And that's a bit of a problem because I'm having trouble getting accurate figures, and I'm still working with Funware, who represents me in the app business, to try to nail that. We're having a bunch of conference calls on that. So, yeah, I would say half my readerships is now right on the app. You know, they can read the monthly or the daily. And now I'm on the Apple Watch, so now I'd be on people's wrists. And if you have the app in your iPhone, it just invisibly goes onto the watch. No downloading, no extra money to pay for it. No, it's just invisible. It just pops up. It just shows up because we did the proper coding. Because Apple invited my engineers to Apple School. You had to get an invitation. So,
oh, wow.
So it's pretty exciting. That just happened on July 7th. So it's like having a new baby. I do have real children, but it's nice to have technological children, too.
Yes.
I think we all love technology.
This is true. So you're everywhere now. We have the calendar, the annual calendar. You're on people's Apple Watch. We have the app. We have the website with the, I can't stress enough, as you mentioned, unique views. That's a big difference between...
These people, like unique people, like we tried to figure out how many actual individuals are looking, 6 million. I also have my TV show on the, you'd have to go to astrologyzone.com to see it. And it's right at the top of the second page. You can't miss it. It has a little arrow where you press, and it's a 30-minute TV show that does not duplicate anything that's in my column. It's extra, and it teaches you little things about astrology that you might not have known, so that you can start to understand it, but in a friendly, sweet way. Nothing hard, all fun, and we filmed that in Hollywood.
I was ecstatic when you announced your half-hour monthly forecast program, Astrology Zone with Susan Miller. I think that's been long overdue, and I love it. I've been watching it from the get-go because there's so much going on, especially now.
Yes.
How do you decide what to mention?
What to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, I look at the month and I look at the headline news. You know, if Mars is changing signs, if we have eclipses, which we will in September. We're
More?
2 in September, but they're friendly eclipses. And my poor readers think all of them are horrible. No, the one that comes to mind last year, 2014, April 15th.
That was one of the hardest times of my life, by the way.
Horrible. How did you make out with that one?
That was a very difficult time for me because I almost didn't have a place to live at one point. My parents...
Oh, when is your birthday? What sign are you?
I'm a Pisces. I was born March 12th. Last year, at that time, it was horrible. I was recommended for a job that I should have gotten, that I didn't. And then I was almost without a home for a while. My parents got divorced.
Money was a terrible problem, and I wrote about that.
Yeah, I lost.
I actually have a reporter who called me yesterday, and she's writing a story for Refinery29.com, and she said, I need all of Leo's forecasts going back to July 2014, when Jupiter first entered. Jupiter's the giver of gifts and luck, Leo. And I need every month that you wrote, finishing up with the one you're writing now for August, and I'm going to dissect it with my life. I'm like, okay. But do you know about the rising sign?
Well, that's what I want.
She didn't, so I had to explain it. And shall I explain it now to your listener?
Well, that's a great topic because that's one of the many things I wanted to speak with you about. I was actually adopted as an infant. Not many people know that. And I didn't know my birth. I didn't know my birth time for a very long time. And
I guess the birth certificate was sealed, huh?
I don't believe it was on it, but I found it on other documents that I didn't find until last year when I was moving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What kind of documents? This could help so many people who are in the same situation.
I was moving. I wanted to make sure that once I found these documents that I had everything. And I found like a little journal that when I was born, it had like everything about...
Your mom kept? That your mother kept?
Yeah.
Journal?
Yeah, it was written in pen. It was like my weight, my height, all...
Like a little baby book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And it had my
See, that showed you how much she loved you. She probably couldn't afford you. And she probably was in dire straits.
Yeah,
but...
that's exactly basically what the story is.
Wow. Well, because I tell people, first of all, in order to find out your rising sign, which is so critical, it's absolutely as important as your sun sign. But the way you figure that out is to know your exact time of birth to the minute. And when you go to the DMV to get your driver's license, they want a birth certificate, and a lot of people don't come with one. So they put their credit card in this little machine that pops up this computer copy that is totally worthless. Not for the DMV. They're helpful to them, but not to us, the astrology community.
Yes.
Because they take off all the interesting detail. No mother and father's name, no time of birth. A lot of detail is just stripped from it, and you get this, very computery copy of a birth certificate. It's horrible. You need the handwritten microfiche, the handwritten document the nurse wrote, because hospitals were always afraid that the babies would get mixed up. So that mother had that baby in that room at that time, at that hospital, with that doctor, so that the babies wouldn't get mixed up. So that's the document you need, and you can get it. In New York, we're lucky. We dial 311, and we have a concierge.
I know, yeah.
Whoever gave us that. And they answer all your questions. How can I get the original document? People in New Jersey, I think it's a little different.
Well, I was actually foreign born.
How did you get is there a way for people in New Jersey to get the birth certificate easily?
I was actually foreign born. I was born out of country.
Oh.
And so that's what...
What country were you born in?
Colombia.
Colombia, South America.
Yeah.
Oh, how sexy. Sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, I don't know the procedures, but I think most hospitals were very careful.
The thing is,
and your mom did know when she had you because you found that baby book.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I've been hanging on, because at first I was afraid to trust its accuracy. It was a booklet. I figured it wouldn't be inaccurate. Would that make me a rising Sagittarius?
I would have to run and get my computer right now, and I can tell you exactly. But let me just explain to the listeners why the rising sign is so important. It sets up the timing to a chart. All of us have two charts. Our sun sign chart is very important because the sun is at the center of our solar system. So you should read, for you told me before we got on the air that you're a Pisces, so you should always read for Pisces. But then when you find out your rising sign, you should always read for that sign too and kind of put them together. Now, if they conflict, let's say one is terrible for money and one is wonderful for money.
Great question.
It means you will not suffer as much as your friends do who are of your sign. It'll be softened. Let's say you're looking for a job and there's a lot of activity in your honors, awards, achievement sector, but also a lot of activity in your friendship sector. It could be your friends or a group that you belong to, like a professional group, that helps you find that job. So it wouldn't really be through listings or sending resumes to sites such as Monster.com. It wouldn't be as lucky for you. You'd be better off going to friends and joining a professional group. So you put the two together, and you can do that in your mind. So, okay, Will Love. That's a beautiful name. Okay, wait, because I want to save this because I don't want to. I have just done your calculations, and you have 2 degrees of Sagittarius rising, which means you're just as much of a Sag as you are a Pisces.
Very interesting.
You need to read for both. What's interesting also is Saturn is right on your horizon line of Earth. The rising sign is the sign that was rising on the horizon as you were being born. And it changes every 2 hours, approximately. Some signs move more quickly than others, depending on the geography of where you were born. We don't want to get too technical. But even so, within the 2 hours, the degrees change. And in astrology, every degree matters. It's so important. So you're at a time right now, a very critical time in your life.
It feels that way.
Most important in 29 years.
Wow, okay.
This didn't happen since 1985, and you weren't born yet. So, so this is your first time, and you will get it again in another 29 years. But it's a very important time where you start putting in the pillars of your life, the table of contents, the things that are going to hold up your life, the foundations, the big pillars. Like a lot of people get married or have a baby or start a business or buy an apartment or write a book or move cross country or move overseas or go back to graduate school. There's something big, a big commitment that will take a long time to see its way through, to master it. And usually it involves calling your friends to get advice.
And I've been doing that. Like last year, I have to be honest with you, I didn't see the light at the tunnel because 2013 going into 2014 was probably the most difficult period I've ever faced in my life.
Yeah, well, you know why? You have 4 planets in your house of home. And Saturn went into your ascendant. It went into Sagittarius December 23rd. And for the first 5 months of 2015, it was really hammering your Mercury very harshly. And you're not done yet. There's more. But the next planet will be Venus. And the next planet after that, well, it's not a planet, it's a star, but it's your sun. You have to watch your health under this because it's strenuous. And stress can tear us down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I can attest to that for sure. You have the moon in Gemini, so you were born for broadcasting. Totally born for it. You have Jupiter and Mars and Gemini. You are such a talented communicator. You write, you speak, you edit, you have true talent.
Oh, thank you.
This is three indications here: the moon, the sun. The moon, Mars, and Jupiter, and also Jupiter's conjunct Mars. Wow! And that's your creative house, and also your house of love. It's the same house.
Oh, so will I finally begin to have a better love life?
Oh, it's your promise to have a rich and wonderful love life. Yes. If it hasn't happened yet, it will come. It's promised in the chart.
So now that you know my chart, let's use me as an example. Pisces is my sun sign.
And you also happen to have Venus in Pisces and Mercury in Pisces. And not all places for planets are considered equal. For example, Venus in Pisces is considered an exalted position. The person who has that loves more deeply and gives more in love than any other native of who has a Venus in a different sign. And usually the arts play a very important role. My daughter has Venus in Pisces. It's just so loving. And she has given her life to music. She's a music expert in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's the talent executive for the James Corden show that comes on right after Letterman, or it will be, Steve Colbert afterwards. But, it's the little chubby, and James Corden is so cute. He's from London, and it's such a sweet show. I tape it every day. But she knows the musicians, but now she also knows celebrities, so it's culture. And you have that too, and it's just great. You have so much talent. I love to look for talent in a chart. You have Saturn in Capricorn. Capricorn is a cautious sign, and you have it in the house of money. So it's funny. You have the planet of impulsion, which is Uranus, but it's also the planet of genius, so you would come up with ideas all the time of how to make money. But you also have Saturn in that house where you would save it. And you also have your ruler in that house because the ruler of Pisces is Neptune. So creativity would be the way you make the most money. The more creative you are, the more money will flow in for you all your life.
Oh, wow. This is so interesting.
And Capricorn's a really good sign to have in a money house because your feet are on the ground and you're not one of these people who will make $1 million and it'll be gone in 2 years. That's the opposite of you.
Yeah,
you will make it grow, and while you sleep, it'll multiply. So it's a lovely place to have these planets, yeah.
Being as a Pisces Sagittarius, and I believe you had mentioned my moon's in Gemini.
Yep.
Okay, we have these three signs, which are essentially all a part of me.
You're mutable. So there are three classifications. People are either more dominantly cardinal, fixed, or mutable. Cardinals are the leaders. They like to shake up the box. They want to change their websites even though it's perfectly fine, or let's have a new logo, or let's have a new strategy. They just like to keep doing things in a new way. The fixed signs are just the opposite. They like to keep things stable. In America, we vote more for leaders who are fixed than any other. Of our presidents, our 44 presidents, we have more fixed signs: Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. For some reason, we don't have many Tauruses, and they are also a fixed sign, but the other three dominate the list of presidents. And Obama, of course, is a Leo, and Hillary is a Scorpio, so she's a fixed sign as well. Now, the mutable signs do really well in communication fields. Telecommunications, sales, marketing, public relations, all kinds of things where you have to reach out to people. And they're the most flexible, whereas the fixed are a little less flexible, much less bordering on stubborn sometimes. But it's a good quality because they hold down the fort, and they say, look, the American people voted for this, so I'm going to keep my promise. By George, I'm not going to change that. And that's a good quality sometimes because they keep going back to the original plan.
Yeah.
Whereas you send the mutables in, the Sagittarians, the Pisces, the Virgos, the Geminis, into crisis situations like, a hurricane just happened, and so here's where we're going to have triage, water, tents for children, tents for women, here's where the food's going to be. When everything is complete chaos, you bring in a mutable because they can deal with it, and they have the compassion and the wherewithal to deal with it. Although I must say Virgo and Capricorn are very good in those situations as well because they're practical, and they're not going to suggest something that's too costly or not really doable. So those are the signs. But you're a great partner because if Plan A doesn't work, you have an idea for Plan B and Plan C. You're easy to get along with because you are so flexible. It's such a nice quality in a person.
Oh, thank you. Well, I do appreciate this. This is making so much sense. And now that you know my chart, I have like a multi-part question.
Okay.
A, why were the past couple years so difficult, number one? And now...
Well, it was the eclipses.
Now this year...
And it was money and home. Money and home were both being hit very, very, very hard in your chart.
Now this year is a much better year for me.
Yeah, the eclipses have moved on.
But also at the same time,
out of the woods yet,
it's a lot of, this year's a much better year for me. But at the same time, I have a lot on my plate, and it's a lot of work. So I want to know sort of...
Oh, you're going to be working harder than ever.
I have been.
Saturn is coming back to your house of fame and reputation, and it will stay from September 17th until December 19th, 2016. 17. So you've got 2 years of Saturn in your house of honors, awards, achievement, fame. And Saturn is going to hold your feet to the fire, make you learn new things, which is good. And you won't have to learn this on your own. There will be an older person to teach you. And the first year, you'll be very happy to have this person. I'm like, oh, thank goodness I have this person because they're teaching me the ropes. They're teaching me the standards and all the things I have to live up to. But by the second year, you will have mastered them. And you're like, you can go now. I'm good. But they won't leave. And you're like, oh, they're watching everything I do. They really care about you, and they really want you to do well, which is why they don't leave. But they have a funny way of showing it. They use tough love.
Yeah.
So you have to just kind of, okay, bite the bullet. We all go through it. Every single person has this. You get it every 29 years. You're having it now. The problem is that your planets are situated in such a way at birth that you will have to solve a home-related problem. And I have to tell you something. You should always have insurance for your home, whether you rent or buy, because you have...
I do, yeah.
You have 3 planets in Pisces. Well, here's the secret. Most insurance companies do not include flooding in their policies. You have to buy an extra rider. You have 3 planets in Pisces. Father Neptune wants to come in and bring the sea with him. You could have trouble with rain coming in the windows.
Well, I'm already having. I already want to move out of where I live because I pay a high amount of rent, and they're not doing anything about the bathroom ceiling, and there's a leak, and the paint is starting.
Could get mold.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, the next place you go, this is going to follow you your whole life. So it's worth it for you to get an engineer. If you buy, you always hire an appraiser. Well, I want you to go the extra step and have somebody really look closely at this to make sure that, you're protected. And you have to talk to an insurance broker and say, look, I live on the 29th floor of a big high-rise, and I still, I see this in people's charts, and I don't give advice and don't take it myself. I do take it. And I say, look, I want for water damage, I could get upstairs, the lady upstairs could overflow the bathtub or something. There's all kinds of things that can happen in this life.
Okay.
So I want to be protected. And I don't even have your glitchy little home thing that you have going on. So, I think everybody should be protected for water damage because it seems to be a very common thing that gives people trouble.
I'm Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini, and I remember reading, because I follow your work, that this is a big year for both Pisces and Sagittarius.
Yeah. Well, for Pisces, it's for the honors, awards, achievement, fame. For the Sagittarius, it's everything. You're going to pick something that you want to establish in your life that's going to stay with you. A lot of people have this. If you're listening to this broadcast and you're 28 and a half or 29, that's a really important year in astrology, a couple of years, because that's when Saturn does something very similar. It comes back to the place it was when you were born. That's a similar thing. Now, I didn't do the math on your birthday. Are you beyond 29?
No, I'm
not yet.
No, I just
you're not.
I just
no,
turned
you're
26.
young. You're born 1989. Well, when you're 29, everybody goes through this. So you should ask everybody you know who is older, like in your family, what did you do that year? And you're going to get such interesting feedback. I had my second baby that year, and I wrote a book. You do things that are big that you can't undo later. When you buy a house, you can't say, shouldn't have bought it. I think I'll just give it back. It's so expensive that nobody does that. There's so many legal things you have to do that you got to be sure when you go in and buy a house that you're going to stay there a while. So same thing with a baby, I would say, or even a marriage. It's expensive to leave a marriage. That's the thing that you don't talk about, but divorces are expensive.
They are.
So, yeah, these are things you want to think about and take seriously. Have you decided yet what it is that you're going to devote most of your time and energy to as a Sagittarius rising?
Well, it's so funny because I have 2 careers, radio and real estate. And right in the
the real estate should go well because you have all those Capricorn planets.
Okay, that's good because literally in the beginning of the year, it literally started to take off. Thank God.
Do you do residential or commercial? You could do either one easily.
Yeah, I mean, and I am actually right now, I'm working in corporate and in the process of getting my license too.
That's good.
I finished.
I did that test. It's hard. My sister took it. I passed it, but she had to study hard for it.
Yeah, it is a hard test. I mean, I finished the school part. I finished fingerprints. Now I just have the state test. But I've been working in corporate too, in addition to getting my license, and I've been learning so much this past year in both careers, in radio and real estate, and I've also been so busy at the same time. So I guess that's part of the whole Pisces Sagittarius.
Yeah, I mean, you have a chart where when one thing gets lit up, the other things automatically get lit up. So when it's busy for you, it's insane, and when it's quiet, it's just really quiet.
Well, speaking of being quiet, that would describe the hot mess that is my love life. Now,
well,
I have not been that lucky.
But you promised to find something nice. I think you should circulate. You have no malefic planets. Malefics are the little devils that can cause problems, but you don't have any. And the ruler of your house of love is posited in your house of work, so you're likely to meet someone through the course of your work, perhaps with guests that you have on your show. Or at the gym, oddly enough, places where you work out, or events that are sporting events that you go to as a spectator. Oh. These are good places for you to meet people, but also at parties, definitely. But if you're meeting at work, it will not be somebody who is your boss. It will be someone on your level, which I'm grateful to see here. And it would be a successful person, and I think this person would be a communicator like you, a writer or a TV host or something like that.
Very interesting.
Editor.
That's good. Yeah. That's good to hear, because years ago I got really burnt in the love department.
Well, that's because Pisces gives so much in love.
That's true.
They give more than the other person often.
Yeah, and it becomes like a one-way street. But
Pisces is so sensitive to other people's suffering that it's almost 911, and a Pisces will answer. And Pisces is good natured, so good natured. They give the shirt off their back to a complete stranger, but often are taken advantage of.
It's true. I experienced that in a friend. One of the recent things last year was hell for me was I experienced that in one of my closest friendships. It was like I bent over back for someone, including kind of burning bridges, which I never would have burned for this person. And then when they sort of got what they wanted, it was like, bye-bye. And I was like...
No, I know. I've had the same thing happen to me. And you are not going to be out of that. Like, for example... This October, you have to watch for that again.
Okay.
Where a friend kind of does a switcheroo, or betrays you in some way, or in a nicer. Well, I don't know if it's nicer, but it's a manifestation where they need help, and you have to help them.
Oh.
But if you do help them, and I wrote this in my column, for the summary. It said you have to be careful because it'll be a long-term situation.
Oh.
So if you do volunteer to help this person, it's not something you can fix right away. You're going to have to be in it for the long haul.
Oh.
But it might be that they're ill and you have to take them to the doctor for treatment. But, it could be something like that.
Yeah,
where they're in a crisis, or maybe your next door neighbor, she has kids and she's sick and she needs treatments, and you say, look, Sunday afternoons, I can always take the kids. Or
like
I can make you dinner, or for your family when you come back on, Sunday night. So something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I am blessed to have a much better social circle now. Like, I'm very aware.
Well, you learned a lot. So life is a process of learning, trial and error.
Yeah, I'm very aware now of, just everything. So I feel like everything did teach me, but at the same time, I'm wondering, with all these developments on the work front,
they're going to be there a lot.
What's my love life and friendship life going to consist of?
It'll be okay. You have a few bumps, though, this October, and October would usually be the month when you find love. But I would like you to watch September 27th, the eclipse.
That's my father's birthday, which by the...
Really? Oh, his life is going to change. Is he moving to Florida or something?
No, but I mean,
no, his whole life's going to change.
he did go through.
When you have an eclipse on your birthday, your life changes
Wow.
in one big significant way.
So in a good way?
Retire? Are you going on a major trip with your mom? Something they've been saving for forever.
Well, my parents got divorced. They're friends, but they're not going to be traveling together unless they get back together.
Well, he had a similar eclipse exactly 19 years ago.
Okay, so
you can
I'll
ask him
him
what happened 19 years ago.
Oh, good thing. I'll ask
Yeah,
him.
interesting, right?
Which, speaking of Libras, I've had a lot of Libras in my life.
Oh, they're suffering so much. They have my full sympathy.
I
Poor little Libras. They're so gentle, so sweet.
Well,
so
some of them, not all of them.
Well, they have a strength underneath. They've been called the steel magnolia underneath.
But I do want to.
They want what they want, and they have this charm that makes you do it.
Oh, that's
you know, you get under their hypnotic gaze, and somehow you're doing everything they're asking you to do because they're ruled by Venus.
Well,
so they're
What?
beautiful.
Okay, that makes sense because, well, obviously excluding like my dad and my former best friend, throughout my love life, I've noticed that for some reason, me and Libras, we have this thing, like looking back at my history, and a lot of the times when I'm really...
You have 3 planets in Gemini, which blends beautifully with Libra. This is why
Is that
I
why?
never say that there's only a few signs that you get along with. We all get along with a lot of different signs, and it should be that way.
Because, like, I've had, like, very interesting romantic relationships with Libras. Sometimes it's amazing, and other times it's like, I can't deal with their
everybody has a
inconsistencies.
completely unique chart.
Yeah.
No chart will ever be duplicated in this world, not in time or geography. So if you went back, like in a time machine, to the time of Cleopatra, you wouldn't be able to find anybody with your chart. And if you took a spaceship to the year 3056, you wouldn't be able to find anybody with your chart. You are born with a unique chart, and because astrology is so based on mathematics, and every little tiny degree matters, even twins don't have the same chart.
Interesting.
So that means you should sing your own song. Not the song your mother and father tell you to sing, or your professor, or your mate. You should really work from the heart and devote your life to what really is important to you. But I can see the communication is very important to you with these beautiful 3 planets that get along beautifully. See, sometimes you get 3 planets and they're fighting with each other, but you don't have that. They're sweet with each other.
Before I get into the outlook of the rest of the year, what it entails and what we could all individually expect, I'm amazed by 2 things right now, because they say water signs should always date within water signs, air signs, air signs.
That is a beautiful, beautiful blend. But you also get along very well with air and fire, so you get along with everybody.
So is that why?
I do like water for you. I do. I do like Cancer and Pisces and Scorpio. I do like them for you because you're so tender. This chart is so tender. I think for when you have to become vulnerable in love, and the water signs would respect that.
Okay, all right. Because I was wondering,
but you can get along with anyone.
Okay, because I was wondering why I always end up in relationships with Libras. Not that I'm complaining about it.
You're drawn to the intellect of Libra.
Okay.
They love to debate. They
love
being married or in a partnership.
Why am I into them, and why are they into me? And then I had a question.
I really can only point to this trio of planets in Gemini. No, there's and of course, Sagittarius rising is a fire sign, and Libra is air. So air makes fire burn more brightly.
Oh.
And they fill your house of hopes and wishes and dreams. But I would tend to think that the relationships you have with Libra will be more platonic than romantic. You're not going to get
which is ironic.
Going to the bottom of the sea of love with Libra with your chart.
It's been the opposite for me.
Oh, really? It's been like intense?
Yeah, unstable but intense romance with like.
Well, that's great. Then I've learned something from looking at the chart.
And but it's been unstable too. And then
They're usually pretty stable, but I have to say, remember I said they were suffering so much?
Okay.
Oh, their home life, their career, their partners are up and down. Libra will view you as unpredictable, and even if you protest and say, me, I am the most stable person in the world, they don't view you that way, and their perception is your reality.
Well, maybe that's why they're in a hot mess. They should just listen to me.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't give up. I think love is a process of, back and forth and really giving to the other person and allowing them slack when they act a little out of character and see if it happens again. I tend to be very giving, though. A lot of people would not agree with me.
Oh no, I could tell you are. I could tell you are, but then again, we mesh well.
I like Libras born at the end of September for you the best.
That's
the ones
oh my
born
God.
in October are not going to connect with you well.
Susan Miller, I have to be honest. You know how I've been talking to you about all these Libras I end up in these flings or relationships with? All of them have been born within the same week.
Oh my gosh. What week is that?
It's the week spanning the 25th to the 29th. No
in
joke.
September.
No joke. That same week. There are multiple.
Perfect for you, though. They are good for you in the end.
It kind of freaks me out, though, because
with all the little, messy stuff that goes on, there's love underneath there.
Oh, wow. Okay. That explains it.
I would say it's sort of like don't sweat the small stuff.
Okay.
We're on Earth a very short time. And I read the New York Times thoroughly all the time, and they have a question and answer, and they have crazy questions like, my friend made me pay $5 for lunch, and I didn't think I should because she invited me. I mean, this shouldn't even be a question that you sit down and write a letter.
I know,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there are real problems in this world, and I see millions of these letters. Every week they write in. It's usually on Sunday in this style section. And I'm horrified at the emphasis people give these very small problems, that they should just simply overlook. Unless, if you can't afford the $5, then maybe you shouldn't be having lunch. You should, maybe I'll cook. Come over here. I want to see you. But, you know what I mean? Like, I am surprised at that. I think we should all focus on what matters.
To be point blank, the only things that I'm focused on, and I'm sure many of my listeners are the big stuff. Career, health, friendship, and love life.
Yes, and money too.
Yeah, well, that sort of ties.
Money's been very tough for the millennials, and you are a millennial.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. I'm like,
but everybody goes through a tough job market at some point in their life. Millennials don't know what it's like to work in the job market. It's new for them, and some people face these challenges when they're in their 50s, which is even worse, because they don't have the hope that it's going to straighten out. It will straighten out for the millennials. I feel it will right now. Okay. I certainly hope so, because all of them are living home. I mean, not all of them, but many. It's been tough for them.
Yeah, it is. It's very tough to be young nowadays. It is.
Yeah, it is. I see it with my niece and nephew.
And I feel that way myself.
Weren't millennials. They were born just a little bit before that.
I feel like for young people nowadays, it's either you make it or you don't. And in order to make it, you have to hustle. Because I feel myself, I work very hard. And I feel sometimes I'm like, I don't have a chance to enjoy my youth because I'm always focused on getting ahead.
Well, it's the nature of everything now, though. It is that way. Everybody has to hustle. And actually, I always did my whole life. When I was in college, I had a babysitting business. And on the few nights when I had doubles, my sister would take over and she would babysit for the other client. And I saved up so much money, I sent myself to Japan for 5 weeks.
Oh, nice.
My babysitting clients were like, "You're going to Japan on our money?" I'm like, "Well, I saved every penny of it." They were like, "Oh my goodness, for 5 weeks." But those were the days when the dollar was a lot better. It was a lot stronger, and it was easy for Americans to travel. Now it's not easy for Americans to travel. It's very expensive. So things, change. The pendulum switches. So, But, life is a little bit harder than any of us expect when we're in college, because we're kind of in an egg in college, Even though I worked so hard in college. I mean, I was a real homework person. I was always in the library. I was never a party girl. I found that when I went out in the world, my first job was Life magazine right before it closed. What surprised me is that there were different ages in my department. There were older people, there were young people. we were all mixed up in the cake batter. And I thought I would only be with young people, but that wasn't the case at all. And there was no vacation. That was, a terrible shock. I mean, we did get vacation, but not like the whole summer. And you're used to getting that relief every summer, and that goes out the window. And you're not paid very much in the beginning. And the millennials had very high expectations, like, I'm going to make $100,000 a year, or I'm going to make $80,000 a year, and they're not. Nobody makes that when they get out of college. Nobody, even in a good market.
Yeah.
So their expectations. I think everything in life has to do with expectations. If you can align them properly, you'll be a happier person. Definitely.
Agreed. Very true.
But have them high enough so that you strive, but not so high that you're bummed out all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well,
yeah, but no, you're building something of value and courageously, because it's entrepreneurial what you're doing. So, and I love that.
Oh, thank you. So I'm going to do a real quick shootout, okay?
Okay, all right.
All right, so Susan Miller, 4 areas right here where I want you to tell me what the outlook is for the rest of the year. Knowing my chart, love life, career, friendships, and health.
All right, well, health you have to watch. Particularly at the end of this year and the beginning of next year, because you have Saturn square the sun. And you only have to watch your health because you're going to be working long hours and building your business, which is wonderful, but sometimes you'll forget to eat, or if you do eat, you might be tempted to just eat junk food. And I want you to really make it a priority to eat good, nutritious food, because you need it. Pisces has a delicate system, and they're not as robust as other signs, and other signs can get away with things that Pisces can't. And also Pisces gives so much of themselves to others. So that's why I want you to watch your health and be good to yourself. In terms of love and friendship are found opposite on the wheel. It's the same axis. So imagine a yardstick with one end being friendship and the other end of the yardstick being love. And both are being hit by eclipses. And October's going to be rocky. And then we have one more eclipse. That's March 23rd, 2016. And but it's an early degree. You do have some planets in early degrees, but none that are going to suffer from that. Actually, you're helped by them. So actually, the March one next year will be good, but you have to get through October. You're going to be busy with your work. The work is the juicy spot of your chart where you're going to go the farthest. You are building something so big that you could become a force in your industry. And you only get this once every 30 years in the chart, once every 29 years, I should say. So I want you to keep your eyes on the road, your hands on the steering wheel, and I want you to work.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean you won't have fun. You will. You'll have fun. And you'll get invited to parties, especially in January. Ooh. Socializing up a storm in January. And you say, wait a minute, what about Christmas? There's so many parties then. No, you're going to be working.
I figure.
That's when business is going to be booming, so forget it. Forget work. Forget play. You're going to be working. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Okay.
What was there another? Did I hit all the points that you needed to know?
Career, health, and friendship and love. But all areas have been much better since last year. So
our listeners should think about what happened on April 15th and on October 8th.
Oh,
These
hell.
were very, very tough moments in time.
Yeah, you can say that again.
There were tough eclipses, but the worst one was in April. And not because it coincided with tax day, although some people did feel it that way. No, it's going to get better, but it's not going to go from black to white. You still have a little ways to go. Okay. But as the degrees get deeper into Sagittarius, and we end the eclipses, then by next year things are better already.
Okay, perfect.
Big difference.
I was nervous. Yeah, because this eclipse, you have me a little bit nervous, but then at the same time...
No, but it's a friendly one. It's friendly. The 27th of September is friendly.
Okay, all right.
It's a new moon. It's just a new moon. It's not an eclipse. Eclipses are 3 times as powerful as a new or full moon. But it's cranky.
Oh, okay.
And it...
well, you know what's funny?
This moon is angry at Uranus and Pluto, and he's just not getting along, and it's causing things to come up that you didn't expect.
Okay. Well, the thing is,
and this will be with a friend.
Oh, you think?
You gotta watch that October 15th or 14th, 15th, around there.
Oh, I hope it's nothing bad, because I have Libras in my life. I hope it's more about them than me.
Well, you may have to help one of your friends. That's all.
Okay. Well, I don't mind.
It'll be very sudden.
I'd rather help someone than have a fight with them.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. I hope you'll call me and let me know what happens.
Oh, I will. We definitely have to stay in touch.
Yeah.
So, especially since now that I know you live so close, I have one of my good friends who's actually a lawyer in Manhattan. He lives right in Hell's Kitchen, and I have I have a good amount of friends in Manhattan. We should all get together and go to Lavo.
Lavo? What's Lavo? It sounds interesting.
Oh, I love it. It's an Italian restaurant, right around Midtown area.
I'm half Italian.
Oh, you'd like it then. I love that restaurant.
Where is it?
It's right on the same street as Tao and the Four Seasons. It's
between Madison and Park.
Yeah, it's 39th East 58th.
Oh my God, I love that neighborhood. I'm there all the time.
No way, I love it too. It's great, and great food selection too.
Yeah. Wow. So, I'll do that.
Yeah, let's definitely set that up.
Just at the end of any month, like the last third is very tough for me because I'm writing astrology. Yeah, like this would be the last interview I give.
Oh, okay. You've been talking about August since the beginning of the year. Will August be a major sigh of relief?
Jupiter is going to change signs on August 11th. So everyone will get their benefits and wonderful luck from a different part of the chart.
Oh, okay.
And for Aries, they will lose Jupiter in the house of love. So they have to really get out there and circulate between now and August 11th. But after that, it's all health and fitness. And maybe they do find the love, and then they, want to look great for their love, right? So, but health is a very nice thing to have. Also, work assignments get really special and wonderful. They'll do well, the Aries. Taurus, they'll lose their real estate aspects, but they're going to have the best love aspects of the whole Zodiac.
Oh.
It's so spectacular. And they haven't seen anything like this in 12 years. Gemini will get the real estate aspects. They have to fix up their home, whether they're just going to paint the apartment or put in a new kitchen or move. If they move, they'll move to a sunny, large space with a view and with big closets. It's really spectacular. You only get this once every 12 years, so got to make it work for you. The Cancers will learn how to communicate in a new way. If they've always written marketing reports, they may be asked to teach in the company, to share their secrets of success. Or maybe they'll go on TV as a spokesperson. Maybe they'll write a column for a business publication. Whatever it is, they're going to learn to communicate in a new way. The Leos are the celestial favorites currently. They have to hand that crown over to Virgo, but they shouldn't be sad because all the seeds that they put in place from July 2014 until now will grow into big acorn trees. So they will go into their biggest money phase, actually, of their life. And money gives you options. I know it can't buy you happiness, but
it could buy you a lot more.
People, it can certainly make you sad or sick, physically sick if you don't have enough money because you're worried all the time and you get ulcers or whatever. So they will do very, very well with money. The Virgos are going to be the celestial favorite from August 11th all the way 13 months later until September 9th, 2016. So this is really a remarkable period for Virgo. Virgo asks for nothing. They are modest. They work hard. They don't look for fanfare or praise, but it's coming anyway. They'll get love and attention at work. They'll make more money. They'll take at least one very important trip overseas. This is one of those what I call emerald years. You only get 8 of these in a lifetime if you live to 96. And so imagine 8 little emeralds in your palm of your hand, and you pick up one. That's one of their emerald years now coming up. and they have to know what they want. Now, Libra will get it next. So let's talk about Libra. Libra's going into a quiet year, and Libra says, oh, great, I've had it so hard, and now I'm going into a quiet year. No, Libra has to decide what they want to jettison from their life. What is no longer working? Is it a relationship? Is it a friendship? Is it a job? Whatever obligations you signed up for that at first you were enthusiastic about, but now no longer hold the same fascination, get rid of that, because the universe is going to give you so many goodies. It's the cornucopia is coming, and it's coming in September of next year. That's going to be here before you know it. A year goes by really quickly. But in order to enjoy that year, Libra has to do the necessary preparation of creating space. Now, let's say you know a Libra that doesn't do it. They're like, oh, no, I'm not going to create the space. The universe will do it for you. That's not ideal, okay? You don't want the universe deciding what to jettison from your life. You know what I mean? So you want to, try to, do it yourself. Decide make some space. And when you have Jupiter in your sign, if you're single, you meet your true love. So if you've been dating somebody for 4 or 5 years and you're not getting married and you want to get married, that's a critical point here. If you want to get married and you've given 5 years of your life to someone, you have to get out of that relationship because it's not going to change. Things change after 2.5 years. If they don't change after 2.5 years, you have to start packing your bags. Because in astrology, that's a Saturn cycle. You have to leave. I find women particularly tend to stay in relationships much too long. You see it on Oprah.
Yeah.
So, because you don't want to use up all your glittering aspects on the wrong person. If you know your name, this isn't going to be the person you're going to wind up with, then you have to leave. And maybe you still love that person, but they're not coming along with the same timetable you are. Sometimes just having a break in the action makes them realize how much they love you. And after 3 or 4 months, they come back. So, if it's real love, they'll come back. So it's not the end of the world necessarily. Scorpio is in a really good place now. They have had an amazing career run. And they've made so many strides, it's even surprised them. And they've also paid their dues because Saturn was really holding their feet to the fire because Saturn's been in Scorpio. So they are coming out of that, and also the eclipses are almost over for I think they are over, actually. They just ended for Scorpio. So they're in a new place, and Jupiter's going into their house of friendship. So they're going to have fantastic social opportunities. Now, Scorpio likes to stay home, but I urge Scorpio to get out and circulate because the friendships they make will be important ones and will open them up to new interests and opportunities, so they should really do it. The Sagittarians have the best career aspects on the planet. It's starting on August 11th. It will go all the way to September of 2016.
Yes!
And this is spectacular. So they're going to have what Scorpio is now just ending. And I suggest you talk to a few Scorpio friends and find out wonderful job offers they got and how fast they climb. Jupiter makes things happen fast.
Oh, great.
So it's not laborious by any means. It kind of is a situation where you're in the right place at the right time. Capricorn, they've had a hard time. A lot of them have moved more than once, and I don't know about you, but I find moving once a traumatic experience.
It is, trust me. Yeah.
Many times, Those poor Capricorns, they probably have no belongings left. They probably, gave them all away to charity by now. They just can't stand all the packing. They're in a very good money situation right now, but they're going into a period of expansion with travel and foreign people, foreign places, higher education, going back to school, to college or graduate school. If they're in a court case, they're going to do well with the court case. It's a very nice place because Jupiter will be in Virgo, which is an earth sign, and they're an earth sign. So Jupiter can help them so much. They're looking at a much better year. These poor Capricorns, the little goats, have crawled through a straw. I mean, they've really been challenged, but they're looking at a much improved year. The Aquarians are going to start making major money. They're in a fabulous marriage period right now, and many of them are marrying over the summer. But come August 11th, they're, especially if they work on commission, royalty, or licensing fees, where you get a chunk of money all at once. That's the kind of money I see coming into them. Now, it could be an inheritance. It could be a game show where they go on TV and pick the right suitcase, like Deal or No Deal or something like that. It could be anything, but it's a chunk of money. It also could come as a loan, like a mortgage or a refinanced mortgage or a home improvement loan, auto loan. It could come as venture capital, but it comes when you need it, if you're Aquarius, and it helps you fulfill a dream. That also includes student loans, so or financial aid in school. So they should definitely be looking at everything and filling out all those papers because they're the most likely to get the money they need. And Pisces
save the best for last.
Best marriage aspects, but it also includes business. So like getting an agent or getting a publicist or a stylist or someone like that, that person will be worth their weight in gold. And a marriage is just blessed for Pisces. You're going to see it's just spectacular. In September, oh my goodness, it's lovely. And if you're not dating, you tend to meet marriage material. People you could even imagine bringing home to mom and dad to say hello.
I'm liking the sound of these.
I think a lot of Pisces say, no, I haven't met anybody I'd do that with. But the attached ones are really going to progress. They're favored right now because they're making commitments. And it's a really blissful time to be a Pisces in love. Lovely.
Oh,
lovely.
I'm digging the sound of everything you said.
So that's all 12. There we are.
Perfect. I'm sure everyone listening right now is going to be ecstatic because now basically they know what to do for the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, really take a look at astrologyzone.com. Every month I write 48,000 words. Each sign takes me 7 hours to write, and that does not include the summary. So I hope you'll have a look at it, and you can map out your best days to act and when to hold back. I just want to show the world what my mom showed me. I was paralyzed during an operation to save my life, and I had to have homeschool during high school.
Aww.
And I didn't go to high school, and my mother was so encouraging, and she would always do my chart. She was just the best, and I walk today perfectly. People think I made it up. You were not paralyzed, Susan. I'm like, yeah, I was. I had a big brace. I have pictures of myself. I had crutches, and we lived in a walk-up, 2 flights up in Manhattan. So I recovered completely, and the chart gave me the hope and the strength, and of course praying. I'm a devout Catholic, but you can't stop praying too. You have to do both. But
yeah,
it's not a replacement. Many young people say, is astrology a replacement for religion? No. And the reporter, the one who's interviewing me and studying the past 6 months of my forecast with tweezers, she said, you have to believe in order for it to work. I'm like, no, it's mathematics. It's all mathematical cycles. I'm doing geometry all day long. No. As a matter of fact, I could tell you that something wonderful is going to happen, but if you don't make an initiation, if you don't supply your own energy and show the universe your intent that you want that, nothing will happen. If you barricade yourself inside, I guarantee nothing will happen. Astrology is mainly for planning and knowing when to act, So I want to make that clear.
And I'm on the same page with you. Like, I'm very spiritual, and I'm very into astrology too, and they could go hand in hand, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, actually, in a chart, your feelings about religion are reflected in the 9th and 12th house. The 9th house is the dogma of the religion, and the 12th house is pure belief, just what you know without knowing why, but you just know. Well, Pisces and Virgo are the signs of religion. Virgo is the Virgin, and Pisces, in the ancient days, if you were a follower of Christ, you had a little fish over your door, a little carving of a fish to delineate that you were a follower. But I believe that it pertains to all religions. It's just where astrology started in Mesopotamia and Babylonia way back when, and it attracted those qualities, but I think it applies to any religion.
Agreed.
So anyway, well, this has been fun.
It has. I mean, we really went over time, but I hope you're not mad because I enjoyed
No,
everything we
of course not.
discussed.
You're so charming.
Oh, thank you.
And, well, I hope you let me know if you get any feedback from your listeners, not readers. And it was a joy to work with you today.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And because we live so close, I would love to finally get together in person after all these years.
Yes, that would be actually a pleasure. So I'll wait to hear from you. You have my number.
Yes. And
okay.
And I hope you're
Thank
doing
you.
better on the health front because you've been in my prayers.
Oh, thank you. I've had a very rough time. I have ulcers in my intestines.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with me. They're giving me new pills, but if it doesn't work, I have to have surgery. And it's big-time surgery. It's 3 surgeries in a row,
Oh, God.
2 months apart. We're not at that step yet, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure a lot of people, you're in a lot of people's prayers, and a lot of people
Thank
care
you.
for you.
It came out of nowhere on that monster eclipse last year on April 15th.
A lot of things came out of that. That was hell.
It
really
well,
was.
thank you again, and we'll talk again.
Yeah, definitely, we'll be in touch. And I have your cell phone. I'll reach out to you later this month. And I do have to say, I already plan on it, so I plan on making you the first podcast.
Oh, thank you. Bless your heart. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, you can promote it on Twitter, on my, when you write to me, you're writing to 207,000 people.
Be on the lookout for
Okay.
notifications.
That's really nice. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Was that not something else or what? AstrologyZone.com herself, my pal, Susan Miller, really gave us all the 411. Her accuracy is amazing, and I'm so glad that she was my first official guest on Culture Café because not only did I benefit from all that I learned, past, present, and future, but you guys did as well, especially in terms of where we should all individually focus our intentions over this next year, depending on our sun and rising signs. If you're a Pisces, Sagittarius, or even Libra, you probably got more info, albeit whether you wanted it or not. So dudes and chicas, that is a wrap on the first episode of Culture Café. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please let me know what you think. I am all over the social media game. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything really. At WillLoveINC. That's with 3 L's. Next week is for my music buffs. I'll be interviewing Andy Grammer and Lisa Loeb. This is a powerhouse month in Culture Café, and you definitely don't want to miss out. Have a great Labor Day. Peace out.
You've been listening to Culture Cafe with Will Lowe, presented by Podcast Tonight.